Do you have any crazy like mold stories that you want to share? Like
Yeah.
that makes me want to like cringe. I think I actually did like cringe.
Yeah.
I did.
It was bad. When we pull up with our vans and, it says mold on it, like people are like, oh gosh, they have a dirty home, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Because every home has mold, whether you like it or not.
Mold. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Welcome to Lawrence Real and Local, Keepin' It Real podcast, presented to you by the Lawrence Board of Realtors. We are your go-to source for all things real estate in Lawrence, Kansas. I'm Lexi Haskin with Flint Hills Mortgage.
And I'm Emily Robertson with McGrew Real Estate. Together, we're here to make the journey to homeownership a breeze. Join us as we share insider insights, expert advice, and a dose of fun along the way.
This is Lawrence Real and Local, and we're just keeping it real by the Lawrence Board of Realtors. I am your co-host, Lexi Haskin with Flint Hills Mortgage.
And I'm your co-host, Emily Robertson with McGrew Real Estate. And today we have Iskandrani with Pure Maintenance of Kansas to talk about mold mitigation.
Yes. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Well, I mean, do you just want to kind of say like how you kind of got into this in the first place and why do you love mold?
Right. Fair enough. It's not the most luxurious industry. But yeah, I am originally from Lawrence, so I'm a Lawrence native. I moved around a couple different places due to school and whatnot. I went to Utah. That was the last place I was at. And I finished my master's in business. And I coached at Utah State for a little while. And then I came across a couple different jobs that I really, really liked. One of them happened to be mold. So with Pure Maintenance headquarters in Utah. So yeah, that's how I ended up there.
Hey.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know where life's going to take you, but I'm sure glad that it took you here.
Right. Absolutely. Full circle.
And then you just got to come back to us and then just teach us about things that we don't really know very much about.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm happy to do so.
I mean, you're the mold expert here.
Yes. I like to call myself the fun guy.
The fun guy.
That.
Yeah.
Okay.
But fun gal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Why did that just take me so long to even understand what you were saying? I was like, fun guy. Okay. And then I was like, oh, okay. Lexi's just a little slow this morning.
Dots came together, Just took a second.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You got me. You got me there.
Yep.
Well, we had some questions prepared for you.
Absolutely.
So I say let's just dig right in.
Right.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what signs should someone look for if they think mold may even be present in their home and they just think they're having those symptoms or just whatever?
Right. So as a homeowner, you're pretty acquainted with, the different spots that you might see visibly, around your home, whether it be inside or outside or whatnot. But a lot of the time, what people don't know is mold is actually airborne. So you can't always, physically see it. So a lot of the telltale signs is what smell is a really big one. So if there's like a grandpa like odor smell, I like to call it like grandpa's house. You know how it smells a little bit thicker in the air? It's a little mustier. That is definitely a sign of mold.
Like just kind of smells like you want to open a window.
Right, exactly. Yes, and the air is like thick and it's just, that's grandpa's house. So that's one, smell is one. A lot of the time when you have like water damage and leaks and stuff, even if it's been repaired, you'll get like a circle around that kind of just looks like, it shouldn't be there and you're not really sure what it is. And you might paint over it and, call it a day. But really, there's still mold spores there that are living there. And then some of the things that you might not think about are like, the ring in your toilet.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually mold.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that's one. And then in your window seals, you know how it kind of gets to be black and, dirty and whatnot if you don't maintain it properly. Well, even if you do maintain it properly, there's mold spores. But anyways, so especially in the north side of your home, there's mold in your window sills. So
why exactly like the north side of your home?
Yeah.
I think just with the way the sun rises and condensation.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sure.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I guess the toilet makes sense. I mean, the windows make sense too, but I mean, I always thought that was just dirt coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it.
Some of it might be. Right. Yeah. And then, the obvious ones are like sinks, drains, wherever water is going to be, there's going to be mold. Wherever there's a food source for the mold, there's going to be mold. So,
sorry, did you have a question, Emily?
No, you're good. Go for it.
I was going to say, so when you're cleaning it, once you just clean those certain spaces up, does that get rid of the spores that are in the air, or does that still kind of linger? Or when should somebody be like, okay, this is a problem?
Right. So a lot of the time too, you might be cleaning it aesthetically, so it's not, physically there. But actually, a lot of the time when you're cleaning, mold is kind of that icky thing there. It's going to find a new home. It's going to spore out, it's going to agitate, and it's going to find another food source. So even though you are cleaning aesthetically, there's no over the product, counter that you can utilize for it to be, get rid of it per se. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So is there any like effective home remedy, or is it really like you need to call in a professional most of the time?
I think depending on the mold load, and then that's another concept I can go into too, but depending on the mold load of the home, you can use like vinegar, and you can simply like wipe it off, and it'll help.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say, it would totally get rid of it by any means.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have another quick question for you. What negative health implications can happen from mold being in your home?
So first, I just want to preface and say I'm not a health expert by any means. So if you do, have allergy-like symptoms or any of the symptoms that I might, bring up there, I would most definitely get professional help. And someone that we utilize is actually Dr. Sandel at my clinic here in town. He's amazing, and he's really good at diagnosing it and, finding the pinpoints and being able to accurately diagnose it, I should say. So, yeah.
We should have had my dad go over there and do that for his mold thing.
Yes.
Nez came and helped him with the mold problem. So, because he was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sorry, you continue. I was just like, that would have been a great thing to just send him to go do.
Right, absolutely. And the most accurate test that you could do is usually a blood or a urine. And again, I'm not a health professional, but those are the ones that I've heard are the most accurate. You can pinpoint what type of mold it is and all that good stuff. So, but as far as health symptoms go, there's ones that are a lot more mild, almost like allergy-like symptoms. So like sneezing, coughing, just if you were to get allergies in the ear, those type of symptoms. And then there are more serious symptoms. Every single year it grows, the symptoms list. If you were to Google it, as for you would anything, Google's going to want to scare you, right? But actually, Dr. Richie Shoemaker was the person that first, actually came up with mold illness, or not came up with it, but, recognized it. Exactly. Yeah. And that was in the 1970s, I believe. And every single year, him and his professionals just add to the symptoms list, because usually it's one thing and then it just tackles onto one more thing, and everybody's bodies is a little bit different. And even depression and anxiety.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And then I've seen people that are so severe that the arthritis is so bad, or their rashes are so bad, and there's a client that was in a wheelchair, like she was so bad. So yeah, it can go from one end to another, and it really depends on a handful of different things. Yeah.
So does it kind of just depend on the type of mold, or just like how severely allergic one person might be to it, or how long it's been in the house, sort of thing?
Good question. So there are toxigenic or more scary type molds, or quote unquote black molds. And those are Stachybotrys, Chaetomium. There's 3 or 4 more that are a little bit more scarier. But all molds are inflammational. So that is, all of them are going to affect you in one way or another. But yeah.
Wow. That's good info. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scary though.
Yes.
So how does the mold mitigation process work? Like, what does that look like?
Absolutely. So traditional mold remediation, That was really started. It's $1 billion industry. It was started in I want to say the 1950s, 1960s or so. And traditional remediation, what it kind of looks like is a professional is going to go into your home, and they're gonna contain the area that they can physically see the mold, right? Because a lot of people, they're really, scared about that visible mold that they can see in the corner of their house or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So typically they contain that area. So they have containment that they put where they section off that area in the home. And then what they do is they tear it out. They run air scrubbers through it. They let it sit, and then they rebuild it. And then, they call it good. Mm-hmm. Whereas there's a lot of different methods too. There's ozone, there's a fumigation system that actually Pure Maintenance uses. And what it does, it tackles all the airborne mold in the home. And kind of that's pretty much what we preface is we don't only tackle the telltale signs of the mold, out of sight, out of mind kind of a thing, what you can visibly see. Yeah. We tackle the HVAC and we treat the entire home. There's never going to be a job where we just do the basement or we just do the crawl space. We tackle all the mold, all the living mold spores that are popping around.
And too, what you guys do, it's not just for mold, it does all odors, right? Correct? So, it just that, because it's a newer technology.
Exactly.
Yeah, like cigarette smoke and
yes,
that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. All things that could have health implications too.
Right. Yeah, a lot of the time when homeowners move into a home and they have just the previous owner maybe cooked really strong or they had a lot of different pets or whatever it may be, and they have that smell that they're just like, ugh.
This ain't me. That's not me.
Right, exactly. So, and that, our fumigation system helps do that as well. So, yeah.
And then, so do you recommend home tests for mold or?
Okay, yeah, good question. So, if you were to do a DIY home test or whatever, that's a good starting point to kind of, kind of look at how much mold you have and stuff of that sort. There are these cool bags that people put, and it's kind of like a kit that they use and kind of grasp the mold that's maybe in their basement or in a significant room or whatever. And then there's swabs and different stuff of that sort, but they're really not too accurate. And I will also say a lot of the time, attorneys and doctors, they're not going to recognize those tests, obviously. Okay. If you're doing it yourself. So I would highly recommend bringing in a professional and then also making sure that professional, is using a good lab.
With it not being very accurate, do you not think that it would even be a good place for someone to start to even see if it would be something that they should call in a professional for? So, because I know a lot of people are very cost conscious and
absolutely
most people don't even want to go into the doctor.
Right. No,
because it costs money. So, even if it does have health implications, yes. But so would it even be worth exploring for people?
Right.
Just in your opinion.
I think it is a good starting point just to kind of see maybe this is mold or maybe, it may be something else, asbestos or who knows, right? So it is a good starting point for sure, but I would definitely get in a professional and kind of, and they can be able to take a test, an air test or a tape test, an ERMI test, any type of test and kind of tell, what type of mold you have and the amount of mold that you have in that significant area.
Is it true with home tests that it'll more likely be a false negative than a false positive too?
Yes.
Is that kind of, okay.
Yes, that is very true. Okay. Yeah. And unfortunately too, with air sampling, it can be that way too professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always like to take more than one. Yeah.
Yeah. Just more data.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
And what they say, knowledge is power.
Yes.
I love it. Inspirational.
Oh my gosh. So I see. So what are some resources that people can use to learn more about mold and just kind of what it does, things that
Right.
are important to know.
I mean, there's a lot of good Facebook groups, podcasts, books. There's a book that I have here called Breaking the Mold by Mike Adams, and it kind of talks about mold sickness and mold, the sick house syndrome. I don't know if you guys are sick building syndrome, I should say. And that's heavily recognized within the industry too. So there's a lot of different things that you can kind of, technology is amazing. Yeah. So there's a lot of different sources where you can figure out kind of, these symptoms are lining up, and I'm reacting this way. Yeah.
Well, before we go into our game, do you have
I'm excited.
That'll be fun.
Not to put you on the spot, do you have any crazy mold stories that you want to share, or one of the hardest jobs that you've had to deal with, or whatever?
Right.
Success story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All of the above.
Yeah. Actually, it just happened not too long ago. There was a house kind of outside of the Lawrence Peak area, out in a little, all the amazing little towns that we have here in Lawrence. I won't say what town it was or whatever, but this house was actually put under foreclosure, and the previous homeowners were really upset that their home was getting foreclosed.
Yeah.
And, opened up all the sinks and just let it run for a really long time.
That makes me want to cringe. I think I actually did cringe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was bad. And all the doors are closed and everything, so you can only imagine the humidity and all that good stuff. So the homeowner, he actually doesn't even live in the area. It's been vacant for 3 years. And he's like, I'm either going to bulldoze it down or whatever.
How long was the water on?
So the neighbors told him a week later, kind of a thing. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, they think it was a week later. They're not sure.
Yeah, there's no way to know 100%.
Definitely days. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That caused so much damage. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, continue. They're going to bulldoze it.
No, you're good. So anyways, they had to, obviously, the walls were warping. It was a mess, right? So they tore some stuff out and whatnot, but, mold was all over the walls, the ceilings. It was bad. It was, you can't live in it kind of a thing. We went in with our system and we took care of it, and it was like 1,000 square foot home. We took care of it in 4 hours, and the air results were amazing. It was healthy. It was livable.
It wasn't a sick home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So we then just aesthetically cleaned it after all the, the mold spores were denatured and sanitized. And he has a tenant renting it out right now. So, yeah.
So I guess moral of the story, too, is just because you have mold doesn't mean that it's a lost cause either.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. And the protocol used to be, take all your belongings and get out of the home.
Just get out of there.
Yes.
Wow.
It's awesome that there's other solutions
Crazy.
now, so people don't have to just leave the home completely.
Technology is amazing.
Because that right there, just leaving all your stuff. I know those people weren't living in the home, so they were just really angry. So they did something, but then it was able to be another place where somebody could create memories and just call a home.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really sad to leave all your belongings,
Yeah.
In your home maybe that you grew up in or whatever it was.
Well,
Okay, let's get to it.
I was gonna say, do you want to take it away with the MythBusters?
Yeah, let's do it. So we're going to play a quick game of Mold MythBusters. We're going to talk about some common mold myths.
Love
and
it.
kind of debunk them a little bit.
Cool.
So the first one is going to be bleach being an effective remedy for visible mold. Do you have thoughts on that?
You just started laughing.
Yeah. Bleach is a no-no.
Yeah.
Yeah, big no-no. The only thing that bleach does is agitate the mold. So it's a super,
Just makes
toxic
it angry.
chemical. Yeah, it makes it angry. So all those little mold spores in that little factory just want to, populate, bounce around until they find a new home. And if anything, they populate. They don't just leave. They make babies or whatever.
So it
they
can
do.
make the mold stronger rather than
Yes. Yeah.
It's what's that one mythical creature where you cut off the head and then more heads pop up like the snakes?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's not
Not Medusa.
Medusa.
I might be Medusa.
Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, you guys keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
Do that. And then the next myth is mold is only can affect people that already have allergies.
I think it's heightened for sure for people that are a little bit more sensitive. But that is not accurate. No.
Yeah.
Like there's some people, I mean, I would say within 1 out of 4 people, they have like severe like mold-like symptoms. I'd say probably 2 out of those 4 people have mild or whatever. And then maybe 1 out of that 4, just it doesn't bother them whatsoever.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, going back, I have the answer.
What is it?
It is the Hydra.
Okay.
So
I would never have
mean,
guessed that.
no, because if you think of Hercules,
Okay.
so basically people think bleach is the Hercules, but really the mold is the Hydra, and it's just going to
Okay.
keep populating.
That was a
you have to-
beautiful metaphor. I love that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to use that.
Yeah.
I mean, every time one's cut off, 2 more would grow back. So, I mean,
There you
just
go.
kind of like that. Got to get creative, find different ways to get around it.
I like it.
It's maybe what the story's based on, you know?
Right.
This
Who
is the
knows?
real reason I have my laptop up, so I can look up crazy things like that.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Next myth is your home must be dirty to grow mold.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I mean, within a home, like water damage is going to happen, right? And you create little small pockets of moisture in your home, whether you know it or not. Whether you're taking a steamy shower or you're doing the dishes or whatever it may be, right? So, can I talk about mold load really quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when a home's built, there's some mold in it, just like there is outdoor air, right? The concept of mold load is within every year, it's just going to populate more and more because of those small pockets of moisture that are going to be happening within your home. So they're going to populate more and more. If a water damage does occur, it's just going to make it go quicker. The mold load is just going to go quicker and quicker. And then, it's just going to accumulate. There's going to be a lot of mold in the home. So older homes typically do have a lot of mold. But new homes do too. Yeah.
So before we go into the next question,
Yeah.
the next myth, how would somebody maintain it, like the amount of mold in their house, or make sure it doesn't get to levels that are concerning?
Absolutely.
Just like so they don't have to necessarily call in the professionals right away. They can just kind of
overall
Set-
maintenance.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think opening up windows in your home is great. A lot of the time people don't want to do that because their AC works great or whatever it may be. I think opening windows is great. Also, I think dehumidifiers are amazing. If one room you feel is more humid than others, it doesn't have a window or something of that sort, I'd throw a dehumidifier in there. So yeah, those are a couple different things that you can do at home. Like just maintenance of cleaning absolutely is a really good one. So yeah,
Those are great tips. Thank you.
absolutely.
just being clean.
Yeah, I like it.
And if you do have mold, it doesn't mean you have a dirty home.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last myth is, I guess we just did this, new homes cannot grow mold. And that's what we
Okay.
just talked about.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. New homes definitely can grow mold. And a lot of the time, too, with like new construction builds or whatever it may be, they might leave out wood or whatever it may be. And then, it rains and then they, they build the house and, that piece of wood that was laying on the ground when it was raining accumulated a little bit of mold.
yeah.
Or whatever it is. But just like anything else, in the outdoor air, there's mold everywhere. Like, it just gets to that level where you can make it healthy,
Yeah.
right? And maintain that healthy mold standard in your home. Indoor air quality, yeah.
Sweet.
Well, thank you so much. You've given us so much
Absolutely.
great information. I learned a lot.
Is there anything
Good
else
deal.
that you want to share before we just kind of wrap this up?
Yeah.
Like, what's something that we didn't ask that you think people should know?
The funnest mold fact that you've got.
Ooh.
I mean, I guess it doesn't even have to be
intense.
fun.
That's
like
true.
It
Right,
can just be a
right.
fact or just something that we obviously weren't educated enough to even ask in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think I just want to go back towards the road of if you have mold in your house, it doesn't mean you're dirty. Like a lot of the time too, when we pull up with our vans and it says mold on it, like people are like, oh gosh, they have a dirty home, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Because every home has mold, whether you like it or not.
Mold. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It just gets to the point where there's too much of it, right? That it's not healthy. It's not, fun to live in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm really happy that the fun guy was able,
gal.
fun guy gal,
Fun guy.
was able to join us today. Thank you, Nez.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was fun.
I mean, I think we just kind of scratched the surface. We might even have to have you back in the future.
I get to that next layer of mold.
Right. Yes.
We're just scratching the surface right here. We're just putting vinegar on it and then
There you
just
go.
tying back in the things that we learned.
I love it. You've already grasped so much.
I know. Oh my gosh. How am I going to just put this into my everyday life?
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please subscribe. We'd appreciate it.
See you next time.
Thanks for joining us on Lawrence Real and Local, Keepin' It Real podcast. We appreciate our guests taking the time to join us. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you've enjoyed today's episode.
For more information, please visit us on the web, www.lawrencerealtor.com. And remember, whether you're buying, selling, or simply dreaming of your future home, we're here to help. Until next time, keep it real
And happy house hunting!